Ven Dhammadassi Thero, everyone. Welcome to the session. We, as usual, just a gentle reminder of the microphones. When the session is going on, please mute your microphones. And when it's the question and answer time, you can unmute and ask the questions. Also, you can ask the questions directly, or you can type the questions to the chat box. Teruan Saranai. Avasrai Swamin Wahanse, I would like to invite you to begin the session, please. Teruan Saranai.
Teruvan Saranai, everyone. So today also we are going to meditate, and before the meditation, we are going to have a small Dhamma discussion, and after that, we'll move on to the meditation. And at the end of the session, if you have any questions, especially if you have any practical questions, uh, something you might have encountered while you are doing the meditation, or anything regarding the techniques and everything, you can ask anything about meditation. And so we have discussed Asubha meditation, and also Buddhanusati, and also Methanusati. So these three meditations are very important for different aspects. For example, Asubha meditation is to get rid of the raga. You know what raga is? So raga is the when you think the world is valuable, the world is important, in the sense that your expectations can be achieved in the long run. If you have that kind of a viewpoint, you think that this worldly things, eyes, images, ears, sounds, nose and smells, tongue and the tastes, body and the touches, and also mind and the thoughts. This is the world which we are referring to. Now, we know that this world is of anicca dukkha anatta nature. So because of that, you think that you want something and you try to achieve that, but those objects, the 12 objects that we explained right now, internal 6 objects and internal 6 organs and external 6 organs. These 12 organs has its natural cause. They occur, or they are created at the beginning of life, especially the internal organs, and with time they deteriorate, and on the way various things can happen, and they can change into something you don't like. For example, someone can get blind, someone can get deaf in the middle of their life journey, and at the end, however, for everyone, the eye will end and ears will end. That is the same for the external organs as well. That is, images also will end. And images also will encounter various problems. That means it can change into something you don't like, can get destroyed, it can get stolen. Anything can happen. So our wanting, our likenesses become a problem in the long run, because if you get attached, thinking that these things are valuable, an essence, full of essence, since it cannot be maintained according to the wanting of oneself, you'd get disappointed. And that is the doorway to sorrow, lamentation, pain, suffering, and despair. Everything would come. So that is why we need Asubha. So if you don't know, if you do not practice, if you do not master Asubha meditation, you have Raga. When you have Raga, you have that mindset, these things are full of essence, and because of that, you start wondering in that, in those specific things, using three main uh, ways. First one is using your body, second one using your words, third one using your thoughts. Using these three modalities, you wander around in those objects, whether it's the eye, whether it's the images, whether it's the ears, whether it's the sound, regardless of what it is out of these 12 items, you'd start wondering in these items. If it is a thought, as soon as this thought come to your mind, you, a train of thoughts is created, and you start thinking about that object again and again. And you, if that is a very important one, or if that is something that gives pleasure, then you would like thinking about it. You would not feel the burden of thinking. You only would feel the burden of thinking when it is something you don't like, but you have to anyway think about it. For example, in an exam, when you are trying to recall something, when you are trying to um, create something, or calculate something like a math problem, then this problem comes. Now you don't like thinking. You feel the burden of thinking. You like not to do that. So why do we forget? Why do why does the burden of thinking is masked? It is because of this problem of we perceiving the world as essence, full of essence, and full of uh, valid. So the other thing, if it is about images, it is the same. Let's say you're watching television, or a YouTube video, or whatever. So if it is something you like, you don't feel the time passing. But if it is something you don't like, let's say you are asked to watch something because you like this person, because it is something he or she likes, you are asked, and they insist that you must watch it. So to get rid of this person's nuisance, you sat behind him or her and watched this program which you don't like. And at that time, you would sense the pain of watching. So the watching also has this, just like thinking. Then with these two examples, you can work out the other four: hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. All of these things has a burden when in the creation. In the creation, it has a burden, but you forget about it because you get fooled, because all of us get fooled of that delusional blissfulness. There's a blissfulness. It is not, we are not telling that there's no blissfulness. There's a blissfulness. But that blissfulness is not well achieved. It is not something you should look for again and again, because it is a blissfulness of created when a vexation is treated, whether it is a mental vexation or a physical vexation. When it is treated, you perceive that as blissful. When that is perceived as blissful, you think that external object is valuable. But in reality, it is the vexatious mental or physical component that made the external object appealing. And it is that vexatious internal or mental or physical component that made possible for us to feel a blissful sensation. If there was no vexatious mental or physical component, we would not be able to feel happy or blissful from any of these items. So now you see the problem with raga. Raga is that this expectation to follow after or go after these cravings that occur in your mind because of the viewpoint that this world is full of essence, that you can achieve your expectation to uh, to feel blissful. So that is why you are going after it, and that and with this meditation we try to see the reality, so that the first delusional blissfulness delusional ideology, or which is the world is full of essence and the world is full of value, is gone. When that is gone, you would see the reality. So you would see that it is the internal vexatious mental or physical component that makes me feel this way. So there's nothing to attach on to or latch on to in the external world. So you'd start wondering. So the raga would be eliminated. So that is why we practice this meditation. And the second one is dosa. Dosa is the opposite of raga. So when you start this act of raga, things go wrong. Things happen that you don't expect. So because of that, the mind shifts to dosa, and it initiates with conflict. And this conflict, dosa is a very big umbrella term. It starts with conflict and it can change into rage, anger, hate, revenge, anything can occur. So that is dosa. For dosa, we would practice metta meditation. So if we have an enemy, a person we don't like, we practice metta. When we practice metta, we know that we are also helpless in this suffering sansara. They are also helpless in this suffering sansara. Because of avidya, they might have acted that way. Because of our avidya, we might have thought that this person is being harmful to me. Or so in reality, we are actually worldly beings who are trying to survive. So without knowing the solution, without knowing the real solution, to the suffering, we decide to blame, we decide to hurt, we decide to kill each other, hurt each other. So that decision is because of avidya, not if that person knew the reality, that person would have never done that. So, in a sense, that person is helpless. So we are also helpless. So for me and for all the worldly beings, it is the Nibbana which is the solution to this to all these problems. So that is what we are doing. We are spreading metta to get rid of hate, to get rid of dosa. And the Buddhanusati is for a confused mindset. When you don't know what to do, you don't know, you are not, your mind is not ready to start metta, or your mind is not ready to start asubha. You don't know what is applicable where. At those instances, we practice Buddhanusati. So Buddhanusati would clear your mind, and you would be able to decide what to do. So these are the 3 meditation types that we discussed. And today we'll use these 3 and combine all of them and have a little bit longer meditation session. But before that, I'll try to explain you about a very important technique or important way of thinking that you need when you are meditating, especially if you are practicing a Arya meditation. In a worldly meditations, that means there are various meditation techniques in the world. And in these techniques, most of the time, what everyone does is they try to concentrate the mind. They try to focus on something and they try to concentrate. And this works if you do it long enough. But incoming raga, dosa, moha would reduce your state of concentration. So that is a problem with these normal meditation techniques. So that is why most of the yogis, they hide in forests, in deep forests, without meeting anybody, without having any connections with humans, other humans, especially the world, the normal world. Because if they try to connect with them, if they try to do things, they are dragged into raga, dvesa, moha, and because of that, their minds become agitated. When the mind is agitated, the concentration level comes down, and the meditation, the blissfulness of the meditation is reduced. So that is why they hide. They do not even have delicious food. They try to avoid any unnecessary images, sounds, and smells, and also touches. So what we are doing is totally different. Our meditation techniques, these meditation techniques can be practiced while you are doing your normal day-to-day activities. What you need is the wisdom, the understanding, how everything works. So we are trying to understand how our mind gets concentrated in the end. Let's compare our mind to water surface. Let's say we are a lake. Our mind is a lake. And in this lake, there's a water surface. And if you put water drops onto this water surface, you see waves forming. Circular waves are formed and the water surface is agitated. You cannot see what is below. You cannot see the depth. So the depth is the wisdom. So wisdom cannot be achieved if the mind is agitated. Thus, you cannot see the deep depth when the water surface is agitated. So, what are these water droplets falling onto the water surface? That is raga, dosa, and moha. If we simplify it, and if we just give a one single word, this is all because of attachment. So, if you have attachments mentally, of course, not physically, but mentally, you have attachments. The strongness of those attachments would decide the size of the water droplet that is going to fall onto that water surface. And that would decide the size of the wave that is going to form. Thus, the amount you can understand the amount of agitation that would be created in your mind when comparing with this example, with this analogy. So we know that this world cannot be controlled according to our expectation. You cannot control this according to the wanting. That is why you cannot meditate as you please. Try to meditate, you try to concentrate, especially if you try to do other meditation techniques. You try to focus on your breathing, but your mind wanders here and there. And if you closely examine, closely study where this mind wanders, you would understand that these are the places that you have given value, that you find important, full of essence, the places that you have attached. So when thought comes, so because you are not attached to breathing, breathing is not a blissful task to think of, it is just a neutral thing. So you are just trying to focus on breathing, and more important things come to your mind. It's like, what is for dinner? Or did I close the door? Or I have a meeting tomorrow. I have a class tomorrow. Whatever it is more important than breathing. So as soon as it comes to your mind, a train of thoughts occur, and your mind starts wandering, thinking about that, or then I should book a vehicle, a cab, or something. I should at least leave from at 6:30 or 7:30, and will I be able to pass this exam? And everything would come. And then after going in that direction for some time, then you would realize that you are doing meditation, and then you would straight away come back to breathing just for a few seconds again, and another thought will come, starting another train of thoughts, and that would drag your mind towards far away from meditation. And at the end of the session, maybe it's 1 hour, maybe it's 30 minutes. However, at the end, you're disappointed because if you don't know about the causes and effects, this is occurring because of causes. Effects are occurring because of causes. So a concentrated mind is a effect, and there are causes that creates this effect. And we don't know this. We are just trying to do it according to our wanting. And our wanting, our expectation is not one of the causes, and you should highlight this, is it is not a cause that creates the effect, but it is the cause for disappointment, thus it is the cause for suffering. So you are just started suffering because of meditation. So it should not be a process of suffering. If we are trying to get rid of suffering, and this pathway of Supreme Buddha is to get rid of suffering. Vipassana is to get rid of suffering. So that is why in the Four Noble Truths, it is said that suffering, cause for suffering, the way to eliminate suffering or the elimination of suffering, and the way to eliminate suffering. There are four wisdoms that is achieved. Then only one would be able to meditate. Without these four wisdoms, you would not be able to meditate. In our way, if you meditate, that would be a non-Arya way, not a Arya way. You would be saying the Arya verses, you would be reciting the Arya words, but the meditation is non-Arya. If it is Arya, you should have the understanding about the Four Noble Truths. Should know that the suffering is actually uh, the cause for suffering is attachment. And we attach to important, valuable, essence full of the things that are full of essence. So with wisdom, we understand if those are the things we attach, and attachment is the cause for suffering, then these things, the valuable things, important things, things that are full of essence, are itself uh, are the problems. They are the problems. They should be seen as suffering objects, not blissful objects. Then your viewpoint reverses, and you know what to do now to eliminate suffering. That is to get rid of the attachment. Then when the attachment is gone, this is the pathway to do that. Then the problem is solved. The mental suffering is no longer going to occur. So back to the meditation. So when somebody knows this Four Noble Truths, when somebody have the understanding of how our mind becomes agitated, how the water surface of that lake gets agitated, what are those water droplets that are falling onto the water surface, and if you stop those water droplets from falling, then the effect would occur, which is a still water surface, just like a peaceful mind. And then you would be able to see the depth, or the wisdom would be generated in that mindset, which is very favorable for or or development of wisdom. So when you are doing, so for we are when we are going for the practical aspect, when we are doing the meditation today, your mind would start wandering. There's no way that you are going to get this mind concentrated if you try to force it. You're not trying to force your mind to a certain place or uh, certain object. When the mind is wandering, you just get that object or the image or whatever the thing, especially if it is uh, if you have closed your eyes and if you are in a quiet place, it would be the thoughts that would um, ruin your concentration. So when a thought comes to your mind and your mind starts wandering, there comes a point that you realize that your mind is just wandering away from the karmasthana, away from your uh, the, the the main stanza or main dhamma point that you are thinking of. So vipassana is developing wisdom by processing the dhamma points that you have already understood. So you are thinking about, let's say, you are thinking about anicca dukkha anatta, how this world is full of the world is of anicca and dukkha and anatta nature. And when you are doing that, without your knowledge, your mind has just gone somewhere else and you are thinking about something else. It is not the time to get agitated, thinking that, oh, I can't do this. My mind is just wandering. Yes, it is wandering because it is its nature. You cannot get attached to a perfect meditation session because attachment is what we are going to eliminate. You cannot get attached to the meditation. You're just trying to see this through with wisdom. When you do that, the result would occur. So when your mind is wandering, you just try to do vipassana on that specific thought. So let's say you are thinking about uh, the exam tomorrow, or let's say what is for dinner. So you are thinking about what is for dinner, and you are going toward that way with your mind, thinking in different directions. As soon as you detect, you see that now, because of the attachment, because of the value that you have given, you are wandering there. Now, make that pathway into itself, that pathway into meditation. Change it into meditation. So you are now thinking about your food as anicca, dukkha, anatta. And the value for that should reduce so that your mind is back in the track in the meditation, but not not in a not blocked or not bonded onto a specific object. That is not how we meditate. We have a very big um, area to work. The area is Vitaragi, Vitadosi, and Vitamohi. That means the opposite of Raga, Dosa, and Moha. So you have to keep your mind in that area. Whatever you think, it should be away from Raga, Dvesha, and Moha. So if somebody's mind thought process starts wandering towards that realm or towards the area of raga, dvesha or moha, that is the point where you have to see that object, that item as anicca, dukkha and anatta, so that the value would be reduced and you would be back in track in no time. So, so that is how we practice meditation. When you do that, those water droplets that are falling from the sky would start to reduce and you would see your mind becoming still or becoming peaceful or relaxed or your mind would become a water surface which is resting without any waves, and that would generate that would create that would create the perfect mindset for wisdom. So that is what I want to um, explain initially before the meditation session. And now we have, I think, like more than more than 1 hour to meditate. So we'll go through the meditation and try to focus on these stanzas that are recited. If the mind starts wandering, you just forget about this stanza, because you have something more valuable than this stanza. That is why your mind is going that way. Now you have to get rid of that initial. So you see that as anicca, dukkha, anatta. And when that is done, your mind would come back to the karmasthana again. And this should happen regularly if you want to develop a better samadhi. Otherwise, I think this one monthly sessions, if you are just doing this only, think that would not do uh, a considerable uh, thing, or a good result would not be achieved if you are just doing this session only once a month. With these techniques, try to practice that at least few minutes every day, and when you do that, you would see progress, and you would be able to do and you do it for a longer time period without any discomfort. And when you are able to do that, and when meditation is more important than other things, that would happen eventually, and then your mind would be concentrated, and you did not work too hard for that. You just followed the correct technique. So with that, we'll go for the meditation. So have a peaceful surrounding if possible, and have a and be in a good posture that is suitable for meditation. Preferably, your back should be straight, and if you prefer closing your eyes, you can close your eyes. Otherwise, you can half close your eyes, and with that, we'll start the meditation by taking a deep breath in and exhaling it fully, with the intention of relaxing your mind and body. Just forget about all the problems, all the things you have at your house or place. As always, try to focus on the quality of air. Gas particles are free. They are not attached to each other, or they are not attached to any surface as well. They are moving freely, just like the air column that is moving up and down through our nasal passage. Solid objects can be crushed. We can apply force on them, stress on them. They hold its position, they hold their position until they break, and they break at the end. Compare this quality with attachment. If you have no attachments, you are like air. You cannot be crushed. You cannot be stressed. You are free like wind. when you focus on the gaseous quality, the weight of your body start to reduce, or you would perceive it as reduced. You would start to feel lighter. Get rid of the hard nature of the mind, which attaches cold ones to things, to thoughts. Get rid of this, the hardness of the mind. Make it flexible. Flexible so you know that it cannot be controlled according to the expectation. Knowing that and acting on that itself is the way to get rid of suffering. Don't get upset about the wandering of the mind. That is, uh, that is the nature of the mind. It is how the mind works. When all the causes are aligned together, the effect would occur. And there's nothing you can do with your expectations, with your wanting. recite these gathas with me if you know them, or otherwise try to focus on the meanings that we have already discussed. So bhagava itipi arahang arahang vate so bhagava namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava itipi samma sambuddho samma sambuddho vate so bhagava namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava itipi vicacharana sampanno vicacharana sampanno vata so bhagava namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava itipi sugato sugato vata so bhagava namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava itipi lokavidu lokavidu vata so bhagava namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava itipi anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati vata so bhagavan namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava itipi sattha deva manusanang sattha deva manusanang vata so bhagavan namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava itipi buddho buddho vata so bhagavan namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa So Bhagava Itipi Bhagava Bhagavavat So Bhagava Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa So Bhagava Itipi Bhagava Bhagavavat So Bhagava Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa So Bhagava Itipi Buddho Buddho Vate So Bhagava Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa So Bhagava Itipi Sattha Deva Manustanang Sattha Deva Manusanang Vata So Bhagava Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa So Bhagava Itipi Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati Vata So Bhagava Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa So Bhagava Itipi Lokavidu Lokavidu Vata So Bhagava Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa So Bhagava Itipi Sugato Sugato Vata So Bhagava Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa So Bhagava Itipi Vichacharana Sampanno Vichacharana Sampanno Vata So Bhagava Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava iti vi samma sambuddho samma sambuddho vataso bhagava. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So bhagava iti arahang arahang vataso bhagava. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Let's focus on all the sentient beings in front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings behind. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the back. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings below. Let's focus on all the sentient beings above. All the sentient beings, including myself, may get freed from the sansaric suffering, may get freed from the disease of sansara, may get freed from the fear of sansara, may get freed from the flames of sansara, may get freed from the burning sansara, may get freed from the sorrowful sansara, may get freed from the sansaric raga, may get freed from the bonds of sansara, may get freed from the ocean of sansara, may get freed from the desert of sansara, may get freed from the darkness of sansara. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Let's focus on all the sentient beings in front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings behind. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the back. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings below. Let's focus on all the sentient beings above. All the sentient beings, including myself, may get freed from the sansaric suffering, may get freed from the disease of sansara, may get freed from the fear of sansara, may get freed from the flames of sansara, may get freed from the burning sansara, may get freed from the sorrowful sansara, may get freed from the sansaric raga, may get freed from the bonds of sansara, may get freed from the ocean of sansara, may get freed from the desert of sansara, may get freed from the darkness of sansara. All the sentient beings including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Let's focus on all the sentient beings in front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings behind. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the back. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the either side of the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings below. Let's focus on all the sentient beings above. All the sentient beings, including myself, may get freed from the sansaric suffering, may get freed from the disease of sansara, may get freed from the fear of sansara, may get freed from the flames of sansara, may get freed from the burning sansara, may get freed from the sorrowful sansara, may get freed from the sansaric raga, may get freed from the ocean of sansara, may get freed from the desert of sansara, may get freed from the darkness of samsara. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. All the sentient beings, including myself, may attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. For an individual with avidya, there are things in this world that has essence, that has value. Of these items, body and mind is an important part. In fact, they are the most valued. One would give away one's wealth for health. One would spend millions and billions to save one limb, because more than money, one finds one's body valuable. Our body can be divided into 32 parts. Of them, first 5 components are what makes our body beautiful, appealing, and valuable. Kesa is another name for hair. Loma is a name for body hair. Naka is a name for nails. Danta is a name for teeth. Tacho is a name for skin. Without these 5 items, you are just another piece of meat. You would not get attached. It is the outer covering that creates the illusion, makes our minds deluded, and thus attachment occurs, which is the cause of suffering. So, to see the reality, we divide. When we divide, we see the deception. We see the fault. Kesaloma Naka Danta Tacho Tacho Danta Naka Loma Kesati. Kesa loma naka danta tacho tacho danta naka loma kesati kesa loma naka danta tacho Kacudanta nakalomati sati kisaloma nakadanta tacho Tacudanta nakadoma kisati kisaloma nakadanta tacho Tacudanta nakaloma kisati kisaloma nakatanta tacho Tacudanta nakaloma kisati Kisaloma nakadanta tacho Tacudanta nakaloma kisati Try removing each one of these items one by one from your body in your imagination and apply them back again to your body. See how the beauty vanishes with each item gone and reappears when they are applied. Because of this illusion, people attach to bodies, one's own body and others' bodies, creating the cause of suffering. Suffer mentally when they get old, when the hair becomes gray, when skin starts wrinkling. Without the understanding of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Now take several deep breaths. With the intention of ending the meditation session. Now slowly open your eyes. If you have any questions regarding today's discussion, or if you have any questions regarding any quest- practical problems you might have encountered during the meditation session, it's time for questions and answers. If you have been practicing meditation during this time, I think we started this program about 3 months or 4 months back. So if you have done that, done at least once a week, or it would be better if you could have done once every day, at least few minutes. If you have done that, then you might have some problems, you might have experiences sometimes. You have those kind of experiences or that need sorted out, or any problems that need sorting. You have time.
Seems like no question, so I will answer.
So then we can do the Punyanamodana and end today's session.
My avasara.
So today we have discussed Arya Dhamma in the beginning, and at the latter part of the session, we had a meditation session with Uttanusati, Asubhanusati, and Mettanusati. With that Kaya Kamma, Vachi Kamma, and Mano Kamma, or the actions, words, and thoughts we have created during this whole 2 hours, we have generated immeasurable amounts of meritorious power because we did not create anything sinful, created something meritorious. Knowing the anicca, dukkha, and anatta nature of this world is the highest meritorious deed, most powerful one that we can achieve in this world. So we have done that today, and with that meritorious power, may everyone get the background to understand Supreme Dhamma, opening up the eyes of wisdom, and also to complete the Arya pathway, the rest of the pathway, without any hindrances or barriers, attaining the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Accept this blessing with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And
Sadhu,
also,
sadhu, sadhu.
in this special occasion, let us remind all the sentient beings in this universe, especially the deceased relations of us, and also the ones who have helped us during this samsaric journey, parents, teachers, the ones who have given us jobs, ones who have created our houses, constructed our houses, workplaces, roads, and infrastructure, and also the ones who made this meditation session possible, the ones who are paying for or have sponsoring for the maintenance of this temple and internet connections and devices and everything. And also let us remind the ones who were hurted and harmed by us during this sansaric journey. Since we thought that these worldly things are important and full of essence, we did whatever we needed to. Whatever needed was done, whether it was right or whether it was wrong. So by doing such things, unwholesome deeds, many sentient beings were harmed and hurted by our actions. And let us remind all of them as well with metta and kindness, and also the deities of 6 realms of gods and Brahmas of 20 planes of Brahma, especially the ones who protect the Buddha Sasana, the ones who might have joined these sessions. Let us remind ourselves about all the sentient beings in the universe as well, and transfer this meritorious power to them with metta and kindness. If they are in miserable places, may they refrain from doing sinful acts. May they replace those sinful acts with meritorious deeds, and may they lead happy lives, ultimately understanding the reality of the world, attaining the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Transfer this meritorious power to them with metta and kindness with sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And we'll be ending this session with a Pali stanza blessing everyone, life, refreshness, comfort, and power, ultimately being able to attain Nibbana, fulfilling the wisdom. अभिवादन सीरिस निच्चं वद्धा प्रचायनो चत्तारो धम्मा वर्धन्ति आयुवन्नो सुखं बलं आयुरारोग्य संपत्ति सग्ग संपत्ति में च अतो निब्बान संपत्ति इमिनाते समिज्जतु. May
Sadhu,
everyone attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana.
sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Uh, I would like to thank you for coming and joining the session to support us with this meditation session and to show our appreciation and gratitude. We would like to chant a verse. And if anybody knows the words, please join me. Otherwise, please listen. Silavantang gunavantang punyakittang anuttarang durlabene maya laddang vanditum pasitum varang sariputtaditerana agatam patipadiya saddha sila daya vasang buddha putta namamahang sadhu sadhu sadhu
Sopateva Nibbana Parama Sukhen Sukhtarata.
sadhu sadhu Teruvan saran.
Teruvan Sarana everyone.
Everyone sarana.
Everyone saranai.
Wishing you all a happy new year, and we will meet again in January. Teruvan saranai.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
You.